which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Kelly, if you could please do attendance.
Larry Fidler.
Here.
Greg J.
Here.
Brandon Tanka.
Here.
Bryce Howell. Scott Steerwell.
All right, any additions and or deletions to tonight's agenda? I will start off by asking council to please remove item 8A. Reason being, I've got a couple more possible candidates to reach out to, and I have not had time to do so. So I would like to push this into July's meeting to fill that last BZA appointment. Does anybody have anything else? If not, looking for a motion to approve the deletion to tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, approval of minutes to the May 14th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then approval of minutes for the June 4th, 2024 special meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
This brings us down to claims and transfers.
From the general fund, $355,964.77.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
From water, $52,137.70.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
From wastewater, $170,871.53.
Okay. Motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
From payroll, $84,182.10.
Motion for that?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the first claim is Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, invoice number 2024-569 in the amount of $2,070.
If there are no questions, council, would you like to make a motion for that approval?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next one is from Utility Supply Company. It's invoice number 1483193 for $2,503.72.
Jason, do you want to elaborate on that for council?
I believe, is that the,
It's parts, adapters.
okay, yeah, it was water and wastewater parks. It was a bunch of different parks.
Hence all the W's all over the invoice?
Yep.
Those are just stock parts.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of repairs lately.
If there are no other questions, council, if somebody wants to make a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the last one is also from Utility Supply Company. It's invoice number 1484424 in the amount of $3,500.
Do you want to elaborate on that one, Jason?
Yeah, that's our annual renewal on our water meter service package that we have. We've had it for several years.
Council, if there are no questions, somebody like to make a motion on this invoice?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have.
All right, Mr. Warren?
Good evening, I'm Sergeant Warren with the police department. The numbers for the previous month they're moving steady, considering that we have two of our officers at the academy right now. With that, they are in contact with us. They're passing all of their tests at a higher percentage. They're doing really well. They just got OC sprayed last month, so they're probably not having that much fun. Outside of that, nothing new has changed. You probably smelled a paint smell when you walked in. It's for this month, so we'll talk about it again next month. But the office right now, the department is currently being painted. All the rooms are, so it's going to smell painty in here for a while.
Council, I told Warren we were going to put him on the hot seat tonight, so any questions for him? We gotta give him something. No?
You look good in his new uniform.
Thank you for filling in.
Yep, we have one officer that still needs to be fully fitted in, but everyone else is in their new uniforms. SRO.
Come to that.
Okay. Then I'm asking that we renew the annual SRO addendum to memorandum of understanding.
Before we get to that, I know that was on, and I'm calling you out and I apologize. I know that was on the Cloverdale Community School Corporation's agenda from last night's meeting. Was that passed?
It was.
Thank you. I think that's pretty important, right?
It helps if both parties agree.
So if there are no questions, do we have, is it two or just the one memorandum that we need to?
This is the addendum.
The addendum, I
original-
apologize.
Yeah, the original is in your packet,
Yeah.
but this is renewing that for 1 year.
And I reviewed the allegations with it.
You did?
Yeah.
If there are no questions, council, would you like to make a motion to approve the renewal? Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything else? That's it? Thank you very much. All right, Jason.
Eagle Club Road, we are still waiting on a couple of issues to be rectified there, one being the water valves, the asphalt removed from the water valves, the grading of the dirt up to the retaining wall, the McDonald's irrigation system, and the potential addition of a storm drain at the very north of Kennington. So I have had communications with Foyt's contractors about that. The funds are still there to do that. We have not paid our last claim on that, so there's still some money there to do these projects. So it's just a matter of when they do it, timing wise. So, but for the most part, it's up and going. Just a couple cleanup items. Honestly, from here, I can turn several of these over. Eric's here, Eric Smith, and they can come and see if you want him to address these other issues.
Thanks, Jason. I'll basically address the three major projects that we have ongoing. The water project, phase one, as we've talked about previously, is the section on Beagle Club Road is complete. Phase two is a section crossing I-70 at US 231 North. We do now have our permits from NDOT, so we have everything we need to proceed to bidding except easements. Jason, I think we are still at 2 out of 6.
We have 4 from Eric Heyman and 1 from Martin Marietta.
So we basically have 2.
We've got 3 of the, well, we've got 2 signed, but I guess we've got commitment for 5 more. So it's really, the only one really truly waiting on is Martin Marietta. That's the only
Okay.
concern that I have. I did talk to Eric earlier, maybe it was last Friday. So Eric, I did have a conversation. He's gonna come in, we're gonna talk about a bunch of different things. Hopefully we're gonna get those easements signed from Eric.
Okay.
And we're talking about hurricane.
Yes. Martin Marietta is the only kind of holdout we've had. I sent all that easement stuff to Martin Marietta, the general manager out here, back in April. I emailed it to him, and he, at that time, said he needed to send it to his legal team. I never heard anything back. Then we also actually sent physical copies out in the mail to their legal team. I have not heard back. I emailed the general manager just, I don't know, right after the last council meeting and said, hey, we just haven't heard anything. Is there something we need to talk about? And he acted like he wasn't sure what I was inquiring about. So we went through that process again. So I emailed all that stuff to him again. So they've had these documents 3 times.
If a meeting would help, we could certainly offer to do that.
Yeah, I actually had suggested reaching out to Mr. Shagley, if they had concerns about that easement.
Okay.
It goes in just a very small area of their property, right along I-70. It really does not affect them in any way. It's just a big corporation that has a process.
Yeah.
So once we get those, we can proceed to bidding and hopefully get that under construction yet before the summer. On the stormwater project, we did have our public hearing that was required by Okra to allow us to amend or adjust the scope of work. That was on last Tuesday, the 4th. So all of the paperwork has been submitted to Okra to allow us to proceed with the scope of work proposed. Along those lines, I did provide a letter of recommendation for awarding the bid. Our recommendation is to award to All American Express Solutions. Their bid was in the amount of $744,890. That is within the budget amount that the town had for the project for construction, including the $600,000 Okra grant. And that gets the priority areas of the project. The two areas that we did that was in the original scoped project that we did reduce or eliminate were the work on Water Street, West Street, and then a little section on Doe Creek Drive. All the other work that was in the base bid remains, which in meeting with staff, those are the priority areas. What I would ask tonight is the council entertain approving the notice of award in form of agreement and authorize Brandon to sign pending release of funds from Okra, because we can't sign until Okra releases the funds.
Guys have any questions? Then I would ask council if we can make a motion with intent to award to All American for the stormwater project.
So move.
Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kelly has those documents, so as soon as we get notification from the grant administrator, then we can get those signed and sent to the contractor and hopefully get them moving in July or at least early August.
For the record, I did ask Eric to see if we could put that up there for tonight's meeting. It's not up there, obviously, so what you see behind Larry Fiddler is what the town has agreed on doing for the stormwater project. So after the meeting, if you have any questions or you want to take a look at it, please feel free to do so. And if you do have questions, I'm sure Jason would be happy to answer those for you.
Eric would.
He probably won't be here. So that's what that is behind there.
Then lastly, on the wastewater project, we had a construction progress meeting last Tuesday. We'll be distributing minutes of those. Kelly can distribute those as well. Just generally an update of what progress. All the point repairs on the Doe Creek and Rabbit Run systems within the town are complete. These are the sewer repairs that have to be done before those sections can be lined. So those have been repaired. Those are the ones that actually require open excavation before they can then do the trenchless lining. The last point repair was at Hurst Avenue where they had to add a couple manholes and cleanouts and replaced a couple manholes. So they got one point repair to do there. They should come back and do all the lining in the town system later this month. The sewer lining in Lieber State Park is complete. DNR is looking to add some additional manholes and lining with some of their contingency funds. The force main at Stardust Hill is complete, and they've completed the air release valve on that, and the restoration has been done of that work area. All the testing has been complete on the force main. The building that's covering the two clarifiers at the treatment plant is complete, and they're installing lights on that now. Other work at the plant, they're waiting on the equipment to come in. They're longer lead items. The force main is going to carry flows from Lieber north along 243 to the town's lift station is complete up to County Road 1000. That should be completed all the way up to the town's lift station by the end of this month, and all that will be done. We did, or have processed pay applications 1 through 3 from the contractor, provided those to Kelly. Those we recommend those all be approved for payment and submitted. That's all through the SRF, those claims. So, any questions?
Not for me.
Everything's going pretty smooth on the club there.
Moving along.
By dollar-wise, they're about 25% complete, and they targeted to be complete with all work by the end of November, and they're on target. So.
Good deal. Council? If you are wanting to get out of here and you want me to sign those now, I can.
Actually, you can, because we're waiting on the release of funds.
You're right. That's my fault.
Yeah, and I told Kelly scan it because it's fine.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks,
You want me
Eric.
to stay for the storm? You good?
I'd like some explanation.
Give me a call tomorrow.
Okay.
See you, Eric.
I think it was a hard number. Okay, Jason, if you'd like to continue.
Streets RFP, that was a request for proposals for the signage project. I've gotten 2 of the 3 scoring sheets back, just waiting on Bryce. So I know he's had some issues come up where he couldn't make it in to do that, so.
Where are you waiting?
Bryce. Hopefully we'll get that wrapped up maybe tomorrow. Lead and copper grant, we did apply back earlier this spring for funding to assist us with our lead and copper surveying and validation. The feds are requiring all municipal utilities, or all utilities period, to verify what the material is of the water lines on both sides of the meter. So it's a pretty big expense to back down every meter on both sides to verify what it is. We did apply for $89,280. This was very competitive, but we were granted $60,000. So we're having conversations with the contractor right now to see what we can get done as far as verification of these lines with $60,000. I suspect we'll be coming back to you at some point with some money, but that's a nice chunk of what I think it's going to take to get it done. So I was happy to get $60,000 or something we didn't get anything. So
Absolutely.
but we'll be working on that. That's probably going to take several months to get completed. What they have to do, and we're actually going to do the backfill. So this company will come in, they'll back down, verify what the material is, plastic or copper, whatever it is. Just write it down, and then they'll do it on both sides of the meter. They're going to go straight to the next meter, and we'll come back in, sand and dirt, fill it in, so that they're not wasting time. So what we need from them is the backing ability to just keep going. So I would expect that to start fairly soon and probably last a few months. So if you see a big back truck, that's what's going on. So
Okay.
exciting stuff. Annexation, I gave you just a sheet so you guys can see where we are. Of these annexations that I'm pushing for, 1 is an agreement, 3, 4, and 5. So the ones that, the folks that approached us first, there's number 1, that's the Thompson Hicks by the interstate. 3 is Whitaker Funeral Home, there are 3 parcels there. 4 is the that's the church property. That's just north of the bus facility. The
Church of Christ.
Church of Christ, just north of the bus barn, bus facility. And then there's a little section that is the bus facility that's actually not in town too. So I feel confident we've got 1, 3, 4, 5. The one I'm waiting on, and I talked to Mr. Gettard about this today. Number 2, he knows the gentleman that owns that, and he said he would check on that. So hopefully we get number 2. I don't think 6 is going to be voluntary, so I was just nixing that, but that was just one that I was trying. So before we go through this, I do want to give a chance to get number 2 on board. But with that, then we're going to have to do a cost of service study. I think I can probably get that done. I might even be able to do it myself. I'm going to see what the process is. I mean, sometimes you need assistance from a consultant to do that, but I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. cost of service thing can be pretty simple. So, just wanted to update you on that.
Thank you.
Basketball court, the park board did meet last Friday night. They struggled to get a quorum, but we did finally get to meet last Friday, and they did select a contractor, Gearing Concrete, here in Cloverdale, to do the basketball court. Edge Materials would provide the concrete. They approved up to $31,000, although the quotes I have are less than $31,000 to get this all done. Now, mind you, $20,000 of this was from the County Foundation grant, so we're really looking at $11,000 or less than $11,000 is what the park board is spending. So, I am meeting with Gearing Concrete out there tomorrow. We're actually going to be we're going to remove the dirt and the initial site work. We'll remove the existing asphalt, and then the new dirt. The plan, now I've got to confirm this with the park board, but the plan is to move it back to the west a little bit. If you've been out there, it sits right against the walk trail, and it's a huge drop off. It's kind of a disaster waiting to happen. So the plan is to move it a little bit. This is going to be actually a full width basketball court. It won't be a full length, but full width. So 3-pointers will be legitimate. You're not going to have to shoot from grass to shoot a legitimate 3-pointer. So it's going to be a nice basketball court when it's done.
And when is that work scheduled
I would assume we'll find that tomorrow. I don't know what his.
with your meeting?
Yeah. I don't know how backed up he is.
Because it's no secret, I wanted that done in the spring, because now is prime park season, if there is a season at a park, right? But it is what it is. I'm just glad that it's moving forward in the right direction. Anything else?
I mean, unless you want me to ramble on, I probably can.
All right, Kelly?
You have all your monthly reports in your packet. Everything looks good. We just received our first property tax installment for June. So that was nice to receive that. Other thing I want to mention is the town is undergoing a federal audit. It will be starting on Thursday. This is, they're going to be reviewing our spending of the ARPA money. This wasn't a surprise. I think we knew last year. There's a threshold, a dollar amount threshold. Once you spend so many dollars in federal money, it automatically triggers an audit. So that will begin Thursday at $900 an hour. I hope it's short and sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
You always change careers.
Yeah.
That's Thursday at 10.
Yes. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, you guys. Okay, skipping over 8A, this brings us to continued conversation, item 8B in the dump truck. Council, in your packets, in your tablet, you should have what we had last meeting. In addition to, per our request, Jason has provided 3 quotes from 3 separate dealers. I think his own Word document that he printed out, and then it appears like just actual hard copies of quotes from dealers, the 3 dealers, along with, looks like there's a few pictures. In the same note, same breath, Council, before we make a decision on this, I would just like us to make the best financial decision in the best interest of the town and point out some facts. What you don't have in front of you is the cost for the mounting kit for the snowplow. We do not have that quote, even though it's been roughly estimated at about an additional $2,000 expenditure for that kit. What we don't have in front of us, what you do have in front of you that was added late this afternoon to your packets are future projects that we know as a council have to happen, and I hope you've had time to review those. And for the sake of communication and clarity. I'm not going to put any numbers to them, but just rattle off a few that we're going to have to do, such as a water tower project that's got to happen soon being in the next probably 2-3 years. We got the completion of the I-70 water lines, the draining and cleaning process of the water tower. You will see that those items are listed on that packet. Now, I think it would be wise, and this is my opinion, I think it would be wise in the best interest of this town to repair the dump truck in the amount of $11,900 and budget over the next year for simple math. With inflation, say it costs us $100,000 in 5 years. Simple math, we budget 20 grand a year. Instead of taking and stroking a check for $75,000, $80,000, $90,000. Like I said during last meeting, I think that is the wise financial thing to do. But at the end of the day, we are a governing body, and it takes a majority. So I have presented to you my side, my personal thoughts, and I will turn it over to Greg and Larry for their comments and see if we can move forward.
Have we considered a lease option, or like we've done with the patrol cars in the past?
We have not gone down that avenue. I'm not saying that we can't, we can definitely, but then I would ask, are we allowed to make modifications to said truck under a lease agreement? Because you're gonna have to, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to make modifications.
I mean, patrol cars, we've added lights, computers, so yes, we've modified the vehicle.
It's a purchase agreement if we go through First National. Not a buyout, at least.
So we would not have the immediate $65,000, $70,000 output. We could do it over that 4 or 5 year period. Rather than budget, we make the payment, and we end up with a truck, because it sounds like with all this backfill and everything we're gonna be doing with the copper test, we're probably gonna need a dump truck that's operational.
But with regards to, I'm hoping we can do that with the front loader, but it's just gonna be easier just to pull right up with the front loader. Because they're gonna be some pretty small holes, you just shovel it out. But we do need
But
dump trucks.
transporting the dirt and moving things around.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, we're gonna have some hauled in, as of right now, we're gonna have the dirt and sand hauled in. So,
But if we had it all in and stored at one of the plants,
yeah, that's our plan. is to
Transport
do
it
that,
with
but
the
we
dump
don't
truck.
have the ability to haul it in.
to dump them. So I think we definitely have a need for a truck. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Do we want to write a check for $65,000, $70,000? That's a starting point, because, you know, the snowplow is $2,000 budget, but it's probably gonna be $4,000. Lights are probably $3,000 or $4,000. I mean, so there's gonna be a lot of additional expense on a new truck. The old truck is probably pretty much set up with everything,
Except an engine.
except an engine, operation, and value.
Was that not an open quote
From,
from whoever's got the truck, or whoever had the
I
truck?
don't have that quote here.
I was thinking, you told me that,
I can run down them if you'd like.
Is that in the, what do you say?
It's in our packet.
Oh, nice.
So you're looking at $5,900 for the blown head gasket. If heads are needed, $2,500 each. And to delete the EGR cooler to prevent future issues, $1,000. That's how I came up with the 11,900.
then that's not a guarantee.
It is not. It is not.
And it's 11,900 that we pay immediately.
That is correct.
I personally think we need to look at a purchase option. And since we're talking about budgeting to replace the truck in 4 years or 5 years, we could replace it now and have it paid for in 4 or 5 years and not spend the money on a truck that's really got zero value.
So you're proposing we take another loan out?
purchase option, as we have with the police cars in the past through Zank.
It's called a lease.
It's a lease, but
It's a buyout.
It's a buyout option at the end of it.
And that would be through FNB
That's.
or any
that's-
financial institution?
That's what we've done in the past with the cars, but, yeah, it could be anywhere.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I say, financially, that if you do purchase, it would be split 3 ways. We have $30,000 in supplemental lit that we weren't expecting that just came. So that would take, I'm guessing by the time all is said and done, we probably end up taking 30,000 out of both of those 2 numbers that's presented to you in your packets. You could do that and there would still be money left. We'd still be replenishing. If you lease, we're going to be paying more over the long run for the trucks. We're paying interest. We're losing the interest of the amount of money we would have in the bank. So that's going to kind of hurt us both ways. And it also hurts our flexibility. If we have payments, it just hurts us going into the future. If we're just saving towards something, we're saving towards it, but yes, we still have the flexibility if something else came up, we don't have to spend that. You know, we could be flexible to where if it's tied to a lease payment, there's no flexibility.
I haven't asked this, but what is your thoughts? Jason?
My thoughts are ultimately your decision,
Yeah.
but I would be acceptable with just a repair. If you choose to buy a truck, that's what you guys are elected to do, to make that determination. I'm acceptable with repair if that's what you choose to do as well.
I think we need to look at the options before we make a decision. Interest rates, payments, et cetera. I think we need to have real numbers to work with.
Sorry, can I, sorry, I know it's not, this speaker, but, I guess my other argument would be is if we do repair, that wouldn't mean we couldn't purchase them in the future, but right now we've got a truck that has no value. I think if we do make the repair, then at least we have a truck that has some value, and we could sell it for something.
But you're gonna spend over $11,000 on something and get,
15,000.
you're gonna get less than that.
You're gonna do that for,
Because of the age.
and let's, you know, it's an old truck and it's already got problems. I mean, when does the brake go out or the transmission go out or the hydraulics or, those are all the questionable expenses that, you know, we're gonna plan on putting a certain amount of money away over the next 4 years, 5 years to buy a new one. We may very well spend it in the maintenance and upkeep of this one just to keep it running.
One thing I did want to mention, and I did ask that, I only asked one of these, and I just made an assumption. The lowest bid here was the Silverado, and I asked them what kind of time frame, and they said 16 weeks to get one in if we order it. Now, he said there's also a possibility he could trade it from another dealership if there's one sitting out there, but to actually order it, probably 16 weeks.
That was on the Silverado?
Yes, I didn't check with the others because that's all, I mean, obviously that was the lowest bidder.
How often do we use the dump truck?
Not at all right now.
We were talking about that this week. I'm gonna say once a week. Now in the winter, obviously, it's really important to have the salt spreader. It has got the snow plow, it's our main snow plow and salt and sand, although I try to discourage salt and sand, but we have projects, quite often where we can use it. We've used other equipment to do things, it's just not very efficient. You know, when we start doing this lead and copper, we could haul the stuff with the dump truck. Anytime we have a dig, we usually hauling off whatever it is that we've excavated, is hauled off in the dump truck. So it seems like we have a dig at least once a week, and that's a minimum sometimes. Sometimes it's back, so we don't have to haul them off the back truck. So if I just to guess, once a week it's getting used. And that's why the mileage is low on the current truck. I mean, we've got an old truck with less than 50,000 miles, so.
The dump truck
17 years old.
Because it's not traveling, when it does miles, I mean, it's a mile here in town, it's not running to Chicago every weekend or anything.
Yeah. So knowing that it sounds like you're wanting, council, you're wanting to see an actual lease agreement from the financial institution before anything is made, it puts us another month out without a dump truck. Do we want to continue on that path, or do we want to make a motion to approve, again, the repair to get the dump truck fixed in the event that we need one?
I'm for holding off because we don't have real numbers. We're guessing at what
On the lease agreement, is what you're referring to.
Same.
Well, Kelly, can we ask, can I ask that you get with First National Bank between now and the next meeting to draw up a lease agreement on, do we gotta provide an option out of the 3 provided? Because they're gonna want some details, right? They're not exactly the same, they're different figures.
My experience is, I own a Ford, I may be prejudiced, but I think a Ford's probably a better truck. And it did come in the middle. And I think the dealers got the truck on the lot, didn't he?
I don't know if it's still there, but he did have one. I assume so.
We could have them run the numbers on the 2 lower bids.
Brandon, one thing I should bring up too, they did send in, and I put this at the very bottom. They did send this to me that they have a used 2020 F-550. It is gas, which I know you wouldn't want to use gas, but it has 16,000 miles on it, 64,000. But, I mean, I compare that against the new one, it's not that much
there's not
difference.
much difference. And the other ones are diesel.
It did have a plow on it already. We've got the plow, we can use the plow, it's just 2,004.
Oh, it's just for the mount?
Yeah.
Because the plow is, yeah, we were just talking about them out.
Yeah.
Plow's universal. So do we want to then have Kelly get 2 separate two potential different options for the 2 lowest bids, council, that you have in front of you? And resume this conversation in the July meeting.
It's fine.
Yes.
You got a question?
What bottle size truck is this that we're talking about? Listen,
So the Ford is a,
F-550 is currently what we have.
550.
Yeah.
and then the Chevy and the Dodge would be 5500s.
With comparable size.
Right.
These were all real close.
So the truck we have now is a Ford,
Correct.
and we're talking about less than $12,000 to fix it.
Hopefully.
Well,
It's still an unknown there. That's what bothers me. It's a
It's an old
6.0
truck.
engine.
Ford has a lease agreement of one kind or another, and a purchase agreement as well, that, and they have offered the town some pretty good rates. But a lease agreement, 3 years, I think you're looking at spending $90,000 over the next 3 years on a lease agreement. That's an opinion, don't know that.
Well, that's why we're going
Get
to
numbers.
ask that financial institution to draw up a lease agreement so we can see what, if the town wants to go that route, what would we actually spend? If that makes sense.
Oh, yes. And then at the end of the lease, you turn it in and
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, what I've not heard is what is the time of repair? estimate to fix the truck?
Great question.
You're talking 16 weeks plus 4 weeks plus $90,000. How long? Week, 10 days? Has anybody figured that out? And who has the truck?
Is the diesel mechanic in Ladota. He did repair to that same truck 6 months ago. I'll tell you the name in a minute. At the time, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, he was ready to work on it that day. I've not checked on it since when he could do it, but he didn't talk like he had it done in a week. But that was 3 weeks ago.
What was the cost of the repairs before?
Do you remember?
6 months ago, we had a repair. That's kind of where I'm going with it. 6 months ago, we had a repair. Now we have a major repair. In another 6 months or a year, do we have another major repair?
I mean, it wasn't nearly this much, I know that.
Correct.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like 4,000 or something like that.
You had one more question? First of all, sorry, did your questions get answered?
Not really, but go ahead. Nobody said how long it's gonna take to get it repaired.
I
And
don't
who
think we
has
know
the
yet.
truck?
And what?
Who has the truck? A dealer?
It's diesel.
It's a diesel mechanic. Jason's not, he can't think of the company's
It's in
name right now.
Ladota. I can get you the name.
It's where?
It's in Ladota.
Oh, okay.
Between
Is the
your
need
trucks.
for this truck because it is a dump truck and it's gonna be a little bit more to attach a snowplow to it? Is that part of the operation?
It's a little bit of what this truck serves its purpose for, right?
But the dump part of it is a major issue as far as having it in the fleet, to have a dump available truck.
To have the dump bed on it. Yes.
$12,000, you can buy a dump trailer.
So for $12,800-ish is the cost of a new actual dump bed for either option we go on a new truck.
I'm talking about
You're talking about an actual dump trailer, I realize that, which still takes a vehicle to tow,
oh yeah.
versus just having
Your
the truck there.
Three-quarter ton pickup, your F-250s will tow it and control it.
For the sake of conversation and time, if we could have Kelly have the financial institution draw up the two leases on the two lowest bids, and we will hopefully have everything we need at this point for July's meeting. Unless council, you can think of anything else at this point?
If Jason could call the guy and find out how
Get
much
updates.
it's fix it.
What's on the board?
Huh?
It's probably on the board. That you had that video. I'm drawing a blank on what the guy's name is. I did right there. It's just south of the building.
It's not listed. And I'm looking for the email domain as well. I'm not seeing it unless. No, I don't have it, Jason.
It's Brad Ford is the one.
As long as there's no other information requested or going to be requested, we will table this until the July meeting.
SJ's Diesel Shop.
SJ Diesel in Ladoga, Indiana.
Never heard of it, but that's okay.
Okay. Then we'll table this until July's meeting, and hopefully at that point, we will then have all the information needed so we can put this issue behind us. All right, that brings us to new business. Anybody has anything? No? Okay. This time we'll open up to the public for any questions, comments, concerns. Nothing? Okay. Council, anything? Let's call this meeting adjourned.
And I know.